Hello, fellow Factorians, and welcome back to my challenge run. During the last episode, I worked on increasing the scope and size of the base to deal with the 300x multiplier that I've chosen for myself, namely increasing iron and copper production, as well as a new latex build. During the hands-off period, I saw that I didn't actually turn on the new iron and copper build, even though I'd kind of intended to. So that's something I'm going to have to fix. I also saw that my base barely managed to stay ahead of the new ash and bricks that I decided to throw into that build that is not running yet, because I threw like 250,000 ash into the caravan buffers. So, it managed, which is nice. The base has significantly more resiliency than it did during some of the hair trigger failure periods we had previously. And science continued to run well, even though if you watch the zoomed hands-off period closely, you'll see that my coal patch is failing, or at least the first large coal patch outside of the bootstrap base that I started using is down to 2/3 of what it had initially, and that meant some of the coal mining stacks are failing. And that's one of the first things I'm going to work on during this episode. I think I'm going to rip out and replace all of those coal mining stacks with electric mining, and also take away some of the solid separation that I no longer need, because a lot of that coal patch is just there to make ash, essentially, and the steam is useful, but kind of almost incidental in a way. So yeah. So fixes that coal patch, and then I've researched the automation tech that I was going for, so now I can start stockpiling brakes and shafts and test out a little thing that I'm planning for my mall with that particular system. I'll get to, and then, if I've got time, I'm going to work on increasing the scope of the base to continue to chase after my 720/480 goal. So with all that said, let's jump into the episode. Okay, so let's jump into the episode and start knocking out some of these minor tasks. First, let's go into hands-on mode, and then start running around and building stuff. Actually, I'm going to make some electric miners first. So, first thing I want to do is, there was a missing pipe here. So, quick fix. Yeah, there it is. That was an underground, not a regular pipe. I also want to set up avoiding for light oil. I was avoiding all my light oil into gasoline, but I may not want to do that all the time, and it'd be better if I had avoiding for this liquid as well. Okay, put my brick down on there, and I did configure this valve already. Just need to put the underground down, and now I can avoid light oil. It's empty right now, but in the future it might not be. Okay, next item of business. Let's see. Fix the pipe in the tar stub, fix light oil, add belt balancing for the planter boxes. Well, it's not really going to be belt balancing. All I noticed during the hands-off period was that this build is underutilized. If you see over here, these belts are full of steel or iron. But yet I'm running this extra supply of iron, and that's because just the sidedness of the belt means that it's getting consumed first. So I'd rather only consume this if necessary. But let's see. I would still like it to run if this belt was empty. Nah, I'm not going to worry about that right now. Not going to be a problem until this iron patch gets much smaller. So fix this. This is going to be a big job. I need to fix up these miners over here. So next item is to go over and fix the fact that previously I had not completely hooked up the work that I did last episode. Now, it wasn't actually necessary to hook up, which is the good thing, although it does just mean that I built all that stuff and didn't even quite cross all those T's and dot the I's. In particular, water is not connected for some of these miners. Maybe it was before, but then I tore down some electric miners that didn't need to be there, and it got disconnected. So I'll fix that. I need to add a miner in here as well. That should be working, and then I just need to connect the power to this stack. Finally, I have to hook up the new copper that I will be getting, with all that working, into the additional small parts construction. So, just fix this. And I think we're done with the minor fixes. Knock them out of my task list. Fix the missing. Oh, I did not fix that missing pipe. I need to do that still. But I did that, and this I will do later. Hands-off period really is a godsend for being able to look at the factory and see what issues I've left. I would like it if I had some way to track down more of them, but that was automated through the circuit network. But for now, manual inspection is the way I've got to go. So, next item of business is that the coal patch that I started using, the first one outside the bootstrap base, is next on the decline list. Now, it's only lost a third of its total raw coal. There's even little bits and pieces of it that aren't fully mined, but there's some stacks on there that broke because pieces have broken. And I want to replace this with electric mining. Electric mining is especially useful to do on coal patches because even though the miners are in some ways more efficient, the burner miners, because they don't lose that efficiency bonus that you, or efficiency penalty that you have converting steam, the raw coal into steam. They get that massive penalty of now all this ash has to be dealt with. So I'm going to happily replace all of this with electric mining. Although, because I didn't put a blueprint down on top of it, a lot of this is going to be very, very YOLO'd. Anyway, I'm going to be back after I've done this. Okay, and that should be all of those burner miners replaced with the whatchamacallit, replaced with electric miners. Losing my mind here somehow. And we should be seeing some raw coal coming in for all of these miners really soon. So all I'm going to do now is go work on brakes and shafts, an intermediate product, one that I don't absolutely need right this second, but that I'm going to pile up because they'll help me make bots and trains in the future. I'll have to go collect a few things. Not much, but yeah, let me work on it for a bit, and then I'll show you how I plan to do it. Like, the shafts are actually pretty simple. They have only 3 ingredients, although I'm going to make the solder on site. Let me actually just run over and show you. So I'm going to make solder directly for the shafts. The shafts just need iron, Nexelite antimony special alloy and small parts in addition to the solder. But I need quite a few shafts, so I'm going to set up this little workshop for them. And then I'm going to make fewer brakes, but brakes need a lot of ingredients. So I'm going to try out something that I am planning to do to make a caravan-based mall in minutia for this system. And yeah, I'll set it up and then be back after I've hopefully got something working. So I'm just in the process of setting up a bunch of outposts to collect resources that I'll be using in the brakes and the shafts. But I also purposely ran myself out of liquid fuel in my bootstrap base because I want to switch over to using my acetylene. Acetylene is a little bit more controllable. I can just add more production. It isn't being used for anything else. So I figured since the... let's see, let's turn this around. Since the fuels in the bootstrap base are kind of used intermittently, I thought I would just go ahead and use something that is more controllable like that. So I will... I guess I didn't really run myself out. It's more that I ran out in a particular location. Gotta make sure it all goes away. Yeah, so I'll be back after I've continued to work on this system. Okay, so I'm kind of mostly in progress on this and getting close to done. What I'm planning to do here is set up caravans like this one. This caravan is going to have a total of 5 different interrupts to get 5 stacks of different materials when they get empty. So like this interrupt just checks, am I empty, low on small parts? If I'm down to 0, go and get 1,000 small parts, which is 5 stacks of them. Therefore, this caravan can deliver a total of 5 different types of materials to this outpost. Now, this outpost actually needs 7, I think, so I'm going to have to set up 1 extra caravan here. But this is how I'm thinking of doing my mall, where I have outposts that have, filtered slots with several different types of materials in them, and then attached to that are some assemblers that use those specific materials. Now, this is kind of a high effort way to do a mall because I'm going to have to configure each caravan and each outpost and kind of like look for commonality between some of the buildings. So I'm probably not going to do every building type in my mall, just the high utility ones. But yeah, this is how I think I'm doing it. And to me, this is a better way to do a mall than other options that I could think of. It'll let me have kind of like a... So the thing with Pyanodons buildings, as you've seen, they craft very fast, but they have relatively high costs. So if you're only delivering by bots or something like that, a couple of items at a time or on a belt, you're going to get your buildings through very slowly. What I'm going to do when I set up my mall, and I'm going to wait for a few more technologies for this, is I'll have like, I don't know, 6 potential long-handled inserters inserting at a relatively high rate, so that when I need a building, it'll be able to build fast, because I'll get a pretty decent stockpile of materials here in this outpost, and I can, like put out that building faster versus waiting patiently for those buildings to be built. And I think that'll work well for the style of game that I'm going for, where I have bursts of activity and then kind of a long waiting period where I don't need anything. So I'm going to keep working on this, except I've kind of lost track of where I've assigned some of these caravans to deliver to. I've been placing them. I think this one's steel. This one is aluminum, I think. Anyway, so I'm going to let a lot of them do their initial deliveries. Also, I'm not setting everything up in the depot like ceramic. I'm just going to leave here. Iron, Nixelit, whatever, the long special alloy name, I'm going to keep here. Only things where I think it's useful to have like an end-to-end thing. So like copper plate, yes, I'll put into a depot. I may even fill up both of these slots. Steel, yes, but not specialty materials that are probably going to be built in the same location for a long, long time, and also don't need like an end-to-end connection. Okay, so all that said, I'm going to double check where I've put some of my materials, and I also might go ahead and just replace some of these miners with electrics for the same reason that I did the others, and that'll give me both a long period of grabbing time for at least a couple of more technologies. Trains is just around the corner though, and also kind of give me time to see where all those caravans end up landing. So be back in a little bit. Okay, and that is that massive job done. A bunch of, let's see, can I even take back my inventory? Not even. I guess I might try and, yeah, let's build some undergrounds to save some space. But yeah, quite the job to replace all those miners. Few hundred of them? Yeah. All right, let's go back to working on the brakes. I think my caravan has probably had time to pick up all the ingredients that he's programmed to pick up, so I can see what is missing. Let's get down there. Alright, so he has not managed to pick up steel, and probably, yeah, hasn't had a chance to pick up copper because he's waiting on the steel. But he's going to have, let's see, everything except duralumin and glass. So, yeah, I've got a caravan that is going to deliver duralumin. Let's find out where I've programmed it to go. This one, okay, and one is already delivered glass, so I can set up the second caravan, because I'm not going to have a caravan have more than 6 items on him. All right, so it is pretty work intensive to yeah, set up these caravans like I mentioned the first time. Once I have all these interrupts programmed and the outposts set up with materials for them, it should be really easy. And it'll even be easy to move these outposts around because I just have to change a target within one interrupt if I really want to. So unfortunately, my caravan that is waiting on steel is not going to get the steel for a while. Maybe I can just force this guy to drop off his steel and we can see the thing execute. Because it'd be nice to at least have that bit of progress. Hands-off time, yeah, 4 hours. Plenty time to get trains. Heat pipes won't give me anything new, but then I'll be heading for the oil burners, which is going to be a great improvement. It'll mean I can make steam from liquid fuels, which both means is way more efficient than doing it from raw coal, and also means I'll have a second better way to avoid liquid fuels, so I can kind of get rid of these things, which actually aren't even doing much nowadays. So yeah, that'll be great. I'll just have to be careful to not flood my system with too much steam. I did remove most of the solid separators here. I'm just going to use these to create ash for me. I might end up also going ahead and replacing this with just an ash collection system and using this entire stack to produce ash and getting rid of all these solid separators. Speaking of, yeah, I've got 26 of them in my inventory. Might as well dump those out. Have to remember when I need some more to come back and fetch them. Also, we'll just set aside a box entirely for these miners. These are ingredients and other things, so at least I'll be able to do something with those. The solid separators, not so much. Alright, so you do not have... Yep, there's the first shaft being made. Fantastic. I think, yeah, this is made slowly enough. One inserter is enough. And the only thing you're missing is, yeah, the guy who needs to drop off copper. You not get your copper? This is going to be interesting. I'll have to figure this out because, yeah, he's not resetting. This whole idea might not work if he's not going off to fetch this as an interrupt, even when he's partially deployed most of his ingredients. So wait until finished. Yeah, I might have to set up like a weight system or something like that. I'll figure that out for next time. All right. Feels like progress, even though most of what I did was tearing apart these coal patches. But that is still fun for me, at least. It's a nice little cleanup job. And yeah, I think I'm going to go into hands-off time. As always, thank you for joining me, and see you next time.